You think the moment he finishes is the end. No, it's the beginning. Because what you say right before he climaxes, that can change how he sees you forever. Say the wrong thing or nothing at all, and it's just sex. Say the right thing, he'll chase the feeling of you, not just the body. Most people coast through sex like it's just physical. But here's the truth. His emotions are wide open right before he climaxes. His guard drops, his body takes over. That's when your words hit the deepest. Not because they're perfect, but because they're real, intentional, honest. So the question is, are you whispering something he'll forget in seconds, or something he'll remember every time he thinks about you? If you've ever wondered how to create emotional depth through desire, hit that like button, because what I'm about to say next will flip the way you think about sex and communication. Do you think a man's heart truly opens through gifts, kind words, or even perfect physical touch? Not really. The moment he's the most unguarded, the most emotionally open, is right before climax. And what you say in that very second can change everything, not just that night, but the way he looks at you forever. In that final moment before release, his heart is exposed, his emotions are wide open. His usual defenses drop, and in that tiny, powerful second, your words can either pull him closer or make him feel like he's just another person passing through. This is the moment when real emotional connection is possible. It doesn't happen by luck. It happens because of intention. If you know what to say, you unlock something deep, instinctive, and incredibly emotional. Many women don't realize how deeply their words can affect a man in his most exposed state. Right before climax, he's not just physically bare, he's emotionally vulnerable. That strong outer layer he wears all day long, the one that tells the world, "I've got this," or "nothing bothers me," starts to fall apart. It's in those few seconds right before he lets go that his inner self is silently reaching for something more than just pleasure. He's reaching for connection, for affirmation, for something that feels real. But most women miss this rare opportunity because they've been taught that sex is all about physical moves or exciting performance. The deeper truth is, what a man wants most isn't just to be amazed in bed. What he truly wants is to feel understood in that space, to be seen fully and still accepted. It's not about doing everything right. It's about looking past his confidence, his charm, even his desires, and still being able to love the person underneath it all. So in that moment, your words can have more impact than your touch. They can lift him up or make him feel small. Because deep inside, even the most self-assured men carry quiet fears. Am I really enough? Would she care if I lost everything? Is she with me because of who I am, or just what I can give? These thoughts are rarely spoken out loud, but they live within him. And they're at their loudest when he's the most open. That's your moment to rise above the surface level, to speak not to his pride, but to his heart. And that can change everything. Most women, without realizing it, rely on things they've heard in media. Words like, "You're so hot," or "You're driving me crazy." While these phrases sound good, they only touch the outside. They don't reach the core of what he's secretly hoping to feel. But imagine that in that intense charged second right before he lets go, you look straight into his eyes and whisper, "I feel completely safe with you," or "I trust you with everything." Do you realize how powerful that is? Those aren't just nice lines, they're life-changing when said with real feeling. When a man hears something like that and believes it's genuine, something inside of him shifts. He stops feeling like he's performing. He starts to feel like a protector, a lover, a man who is truly seen and valued. And here's the truth. Men don't get this kind of emotional intimacy very often. They're not taught how to handle it. From a young age, they're trained to compete, to win, to stay strong, not to share, not to feel deeply. So when, in that delicate moment, you offer him safety and honesty with your words, you become someone rare, someone unforgettable, someone who doesn't just desire what he can do, but who he really is. That realization, it stays with him. It's not just attractive, it's unforgettable, because what you're really doing is speaking to the little boy inside him, who still wonders if he's good enough. The one who hopes that someone will look past his surface and say, "You don't have to try so hard for me, you already matter to me." When you reach that part of him, not with your body but with your truth, he softens. Not because he's weak, but because he feels safe enough to be real. He drops the act, he stops trying to impress, he simply exists, and in your arms that moment becomes the safest place he's ever known. This kind of connection through words takes courage. It means being fully present. It's not about coming up with perfect lines. It's about noticing what you really feel and having the bravery to say it. Because anyone can fake excitement, but you can't fake being fully present. And he'll know the difference. When he feels that your words are not just lines but honest feelings, it creates a connection beyond just the physical. There's something deeply powerful about a woman who can hold a man in his most intense moment and still speak to his inner world. She's not just praising his strength, she's reaching for his tenderness. She's not only interested in his body, she's drawn to his heart. That kind of woman. She stays in his memory. Not because she said something smooth or clever, but because when the world faded away and it was just the two of them, she spoke the words his soul had been waiting for. So don't waste that moment. Don't stick to shallow compliments. Go deeper. Say what you truly mean. Speak to the part of him that's rarely seen. Because in those few seconds before climax, he's listening with his whole being. And the woman who understands this and uses that moment not just to impress but to truly connect, becomes the one he can't forget, even long after the night ends. There are some words a man never expects to hear, especially not in such an open, private moment like right before climax. He's been trained his whole life to stay tough, to achieve, to take the lead, and never show weakness. Even during intimacy, especially in sex, men feel a silent pressure to perform, to keep control, to be the strong one. Because of that, there are insecurities buried deep that almost no one speaks to. They live quietly underneath the surface. Questions like, am I really good enough? Would she still love me if I couldn't do all this? Does she see the real me or just the role I play? That's why those few seconds before release are so important. It's in that peak of vulnerability, when his walls drop and his senses are overwhelmed, that your words can either confirm the fears he's carried for years or completely shift how he sees himself, with you. That's how much your words matter. That's the kind of impact they can have. Most people don't realize that. They don't use that power with intention. But you can, if you're aware, present, and brave enough. You can reach a part of him no one else ever has. So when we say the words he thought he'd never hear, we mean speak to the quiet pain he hides, not to make it worse, but to soothe it, to show him he's accepted, just as he is. Not for being perfect, not for doing everything right, but for being real, for being human, for being enough. Imagine holding him close in that moment and saying softly, "You don't have to prove anything to me." It sounds simple, but for a man who spent his life believing love depends on performance, it's groundbreaking. Or tell him you are enough just as you are. That's not just praise, that's a gift. It invites peace. It brings trust. It reaches past all his usual defenses and speaks directly to the heart. These are the words he didn't even know he needed. They don't stop at the surface, they go all the way in. And when he hears those words while feeling that rush of vulnerability, they stick. They get stored in a place he'll never forget. Because he doesn't just remember what you said, he remembers how it made him feel. And that's what makes it so powerful. In that peak moment when he's about to let go, his mind and body are completely open. There's no resistance, no mental filter. He's not thinking, not analyzing, just receiving. And when he receives your presence, your voice, your honesty, something deep inside starts to shift. He doesn't just feel pleasure, he feels truly understood. And that feeling is something rare. Let's be honest, this isn't about using words to control or influence a man. It's not a trick or a game. It's about giving him something real, something many men never get. A space where he's allowed to be human, open, vulnerable, and still loved, without having to earn it by performing perfectly. When you speak to him from a place of true connection, when you say things like, "You don't have to be perfect for me to care," or "I'm not with you because of what you give me, I'm with you because of who you are," you're not just turning him on, you're giving him freedom. Because here's what people don't often say. Men want emotional freedom just as much as women. They want to let go, they want to be gentle. They want to feel like they don't have to work so hard for love. They want to know, even just once in their lives, that they are safe exactly as they are. And if you're the one who tells him that, not from pity, not from some plan, but with sincerity, you will leave a permanent impression. That kind of moment changes what he believes love can feel like. Suddenly, you're not just someone he shares a bed with, you're someone he can truly show himself to. And in today's world, that's incredibly rare. Everything around him tells him to perform, to be successful, attractive, tough, in control. You become the only place where he doesn't have to prove anything and still feels like he's enough. So next time you're in that intense moment, he's holding you, the air feels electric. Take a second, really feel it. Look into his eyes or speak softly into his ear and say what no one else ever has. Say the words he's been craving in silence. "You're enough. You're safe. You don't have to change a thing for me." And watch what unfolds. Watch how his body relaxes. Watch how his heart opens. Feel the shift, not just in how he touches you, but in how he sees you. Because in that moment, you didn't just give him physical pleasure, you gave him emotional peace. And a woman who can do that, she doesn't just touch his heart, she owns it. Physical connection isn't only about bodies coming together. When it's at its best, it becomes emotional and spiritual. Two people slowly removing all their masks, facing each other fully open. But most people go through these moments on autopilot. There's no attention, no real feeling, no deeper meaning. And that's exactly why so many relationships lose their spark. We remember the sensation, but not the message. And without meaning, even the most exciting night can fade away from memory. This is where many people overlook the true magic of intimacy. It's never just about what happens physically, it's about what the physical represents. And in those final seconds before climax, when a man is at his most open, you're given a rare, short, but powerful opportunity. You can let it pass like any other, or you can make it unforgettable by anchoring it with your words. To anchor a moment means to give it emotional weight. It means tying that intense feeling to something personal and real, something that speaks to both your bodies and your hearts. The truth is, our brains remember emotion more than the actual events. We carry with us how something made us feel, long after we've forgotten the details. If you want this moment to live in his memory, not for hours but for months, even years, you must speak to the meaning behind what's happening. It doesn't need to be dramatic. In fact, the most impactful words are often the simplest. A soft whisper, an honest truth, a still second where you say something like, "This is where I feel most myself," or "No one sees this part of me but you." These aren't just pretty phrases, they're emotional anchors. They take a moment of physical release and link it to something soulful. And when those words are said with presence and feeling, they create a connection he won't forget. Why is this so important for a man? Because no matter what the world says about what it means to be masculine, men also crave depth. They want something that feels meaningful. They don't want to believe this is just another night, another experience. They want to believe it matters, that they matter. And when you're the one who gives meaning to that moment, you become more than a partner. You become a reflection of who he is deep inside. Think about it. Climax is the peak of physical feeling, but right afterward things settle. It all comes back to normal, unless, in that peak, you planted something meaningful. If you did, that meaning stays. He doesn't just remember how good it felt, he remembers how real it was. And real is what makes an experience stay with someone for a lifetime. Don't be afraid to speak from the heart. If you feel safe, say it. If the moment feels alive, say that too. If you've never felt this connected before, express it. Those words are not a weakness, they're powerful. They turn you from someone just reacting into someone shaping the moment. Men, even those who seem hard to read, are moved deeply by women who don't just feel things, but say them out loud. Many women wait for the man to define what's happening, to put words to the experience, to be the one to open up emotionally. But true intimacy isn't about waiting. It's a shared space you both help build. When you bring meaning to it, you're not only showing how you feel, you're showing him that it's safe for him to go deeper too. You're creating the emotional tone for the relationship, one that's not just about physical touch, but about emotional depth. And when you start speaking with purpose during those intense moments, something shifts. He becomes more open, he starts to trust you more. He might not say it, but inside something changes. His heart quietly says, she's different. Not because you did anything fancy, not because of how you looked, but because in a moment where most people stay on the surface, you gave him something real. And that's unforgettable. He said, I knew something had gone wrong. It had purely come to an end. He wasn't going back. It was being. You stop being just another moment. You become the moment. The one his body remembers with heat and his heart remembers with tenderness. You become the memory that made him feel more than physical release. You made him feel seen. So next time you find yourself in that beautiful, raw space together, don't let it go by unnoticed. Use your voice. Speak from that honest place. Anchor the moment with words that give it depth, that give it meaning. Because when you do, he won't just remember how it felt to be with you. He'll remember how it felt to be fully accepted, fully valued, and fully loved. And that feeling, once given, is impossible to forget. In that powerful moment, his mind and body are completely open. There's no resistance, no overthinking. He's not judging or trying to understand, he's simply receiving. And what he receives is you, your presence, your voice, your truth. Something inside him shifts. He doesn't just feel loved, he feels seen. And that's rare. Let's be clear. This isn't about using words to get what you want. It's not about tactics or control. It's about offering something real, something most men rarely get. The chance to be fully human, completely exposed and loved anyway. Not because of how well he performs, but simply for who he is. And when you speak from a place of true connection, when you say, you don't have to be perfect for me to love you, or I'm not here for what you give, I'm here for who you are, you're not just seducing him, you're freeing him. Here's what most people don't realize. Men crave emotional freedom just like women do. They want to take off the armor. They want to soften. They want to be in a space where they don't have to fight for love or prove they're worthy of it. They want someone to say, even just once, you're safe with me, just as you are. And if you're the one who says that, not to impress, but because you mean it, you'll stay in his heart forever. This kind of connection changes how he sees love. Suddenly, you're not just someone he's close to, you're someone he can be real with. And being real is rare. In a world where he's always expected to perform, at work, in relationships, you become the one place where he doesn't need to try and still feels like he's enough. So next time you're in that intimate moment, when everything feels still and alive, when he's on the edge of release, pause, feel, look him in the eye, or whisper in his ear, and say the words no one ever has, the words he's longed to hear in silence. Say, you're enough, you're safe, you can be yourself with me. Watch what happens. Watch how his body softens. Watch his heart open. Watch the shift, not just in how he touches you, but in how he sees you. Because in that one moment, you didn't just give him pleasure, you gave him freedom. And that kind of woman doesn't just touch his heart, she becomes part of it. Physical closeness isn't just about the body. At its highest level, it becomes something spiritual, something emotional. Two people dropping all masks and standing bare in front of each other. But most of the time, we move through these moments without awareness. We're not fully present. We don't bring real meaning. That's why passion often fades. It burns bright but fast. We remember the touch, but not the meaning behind it. And when there's no meaning, even the most passionate night becomes forgettable. This is what many miss about intimacy. It's not just about what happens, it's about what it means. And right before a man climaxes, when he's fully open, emotionally and physically, you have a choice. You can let it pass like every other time, or you can turn it into something he'll never forget. Giving the moment meaning is what makes it last. Tie it to something deeper than just pleasure. Make it emotional, make it human, because the brain doesn't remember actions as well as it remembers feelings. It remembers how something made us feel, not just what happened. If you want him to remember the moment, not for hours, but for years, speak to what it means. You don't need big words. In fact, the simplest ones matter most. A whisper, a quiet truth, a pause with your voice in his ear saying, "This is where I belong," or "No one else has seen this side of me but you." These aren't just sweet lines, they're anchors. They tie the body to the soul, and when said with care and honesty, they turn a moment into a memory that stays with him. Why does this matter so much? Because no matter what the world says about masculinity, men want depth, they want meaning. They want to believe this isn't just another night. They want to feel like it matters to both of you. And when you give that meaning, not through control, but through honesty, you become more than a partner, you become a mirror to his soul. Think about it this way. Climax is the highest point of physical pleasure. After that, the body returns to normal. But if you've added emotional truth to that high, it stays with him. He won't just remember what happened. He'll remember how deeply connected he felt. Don't be afraid to speak from the heart. If you feel safe, say so. If you feel alive, say that too. If this is the most connected you've ever felt, tell him. These aren't weak words, they're powerful. They turn you from someone going through the motions into someone shaping the moment. And even if he doesn't say it, most men are moved by women who feel deeply and speak what they feel. Too often women wait for men to define things, to give the moment meaning. But intimacy isn't about waiting. It's something you create together. When you bring meaning to the moment, you give him permission to do the same. You set the tone. This isn't just about sensation, it's about substance. And when you do this, something amazing happens. He begins to soften. He starts to trust you more. He might not say it out loud, but inside he knows she's different. Not because you looked a certain way or did something special, but because when he expected only pleasure, you gave him truth. That kind of moment stays with him. So the next time you're in that sacred space, speak something real, something you'll both remember. Maybe say, "This feels like home," or "I've never felt this open before," or "I trust you," or simply, "You move me." Choose what feels real to you, because when you connect pleasure to meaning, you create more than passion. You create a bond. One that lives in his heart long after the moment ends. There's a big difference between claiming someone and trying to control them. One comes from love, the other comes from fear. One says, "I see you and I choose you." The other says, "I need to manage you so I don't get hurt." And that moment just before climax, when he's completely open, that's not the time to tighten your grip. It's the time to let him feel chosen, not trapped. Wanted, not pressured. Loved, not managed. That difference matters. Men are very sensitive to control, especially in intimate moments. They might not be able to explain it, but they feel it. When your energy shifts from connection to control, even just a little, something inside him pulls back. He might keep going physically, but emotionally he steps away. He's no longer present. He's retreating inside his own mind. Why? Because control and trust can't exist in the same space. And when he feels like your desire for him comes from fear, not love, he no longer feels safe. And without safety, there's no surrender. And surrender is where true intimacy happens. Now, let's talk about claiming, not as control, but as recognition. Claiming says, I see you, I want you, I choose you as you are, not because you're perfect, just because